Greetings, BookTube. I'm Ryn Jackson, and you're watching Bundles and Books, a channel where I normally talk about books while playing Stardew Valley. In this video, I'll be doing something a little bit different. I'm in Photoshop instead of in the game because I've decided to participate in BECCA'S Bookoplathon this September. The Bookoplathon is a readathon based on BECCA'S TBR game, BECCA'S Bookopoly. I've linked BECCA'S announcement video with all of the information on how to participate below so you can check it out for yourself. If you've seen any of my videos before, then you know that I get the vast majority of my books from the library and have only a very small TBR. If this is your first video, welcome, and now you know that. I do maintain lists of books I'm interested in reading though, so if I can't fulfill a prompt with my TBR, I'll use one of those lists instead. So this is the official Bookopoly board, which you can get from BECCA at the link in the video description, as well as the chance and community shelf cards. If I land on either of the chance or community shelf tiles, I'll use a random number generator to pull a number between 1 and 15, and we'll go with the corresponding prompt. It's up to each player to fill in the chance and community shelf cards, so I've used books from my 2020 and 2021 TBRs to fill in the 15 chance cards. If you want to take a longer look at the titles on my chance cards or at the prompts on my community chest cards or community shelf cards, then just pause the video before I exit this screen. I have a video linked below on my 2020 TBR, but it's made up of every book I bought in 2020 and haven't read yet, and there are 6 books left on it. The primary goal behind it is to make sure I don't get any farther behind on reading books that I've already purchased. My 2021 TBR is the same idea, but with books I purchased in 2019. I'm basically trying to battle my consumerism by forcing myself to read literally everything I've ever bought from newest to oldest. So for the community shelf cards, I've used prompts from Book Riot's 2020 Read Harder Challenge. There's a link in the description if you want to see all of the Book Riot prompts, as well as book recommendations from Book Riot for each of the prompts. There were 24 prompts, so I didn't need to use all of them. The only book that I'm committed to reading this month is A Bad Day for Sunshine by Darynda Jones, which is the monthly selection for a book club I participate in. If I can, I'll need to find a way to make that fit one of the prompts. Otherwise, I'll have to read one more book than the board demands. I've read an average of 10 books a month so far in 2020, so I've decided to roll the dice 8 times. This should provide me with enough of a challenge without having to worry too much about going way over what I can handle, since most of the books left on my 2020 TBR are pretty long. I'm a bit nervous though, since this board seems to be cursed, so who knows how many I'll actually end up with. So I'm going to roll my first roll, and I got a 9, so every time I move the piece, the dice are going to disappear, but I'll bring them back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I need to read a book with a light cover. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is what I get for not having physical books. Good news! I am in luck. A Bad Day for Sunshine by Darynda Jones has a mostly white cover, so I'm going to use it to fulfill this prompt. In this book, Del Sol, New Mexico native Sunshine Vikram has returned to town as the elected sheriff, thanks to her adorably meddlesome parents who nominated her, and she expects her biggest crime wave to involve an elderly flasher named Doug. However, a teenage girl is missing, a kidnapper is on the loose, and all of this is reminding Sunshine why she left Del Sol in the first place. It seems like it's going to be on the lighter side of the murder mystery genre as far as tone goes. It should be a quick read, and hopefully it will be a good discussion in my book club. I'm going to roll the dice 8 times, so let me roll again. And I got a 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So POC rep. This prompt would be to read a book with a main character of color. I'm going to choose Salvage the Bones by Jesmyn Ward for the POC rep prompt. This is a contemporary literary fiction centering the experiences of an African-American family in Mississippi that takes place in the days leading up to Hurricane Katrina. It follows pregnant 14-year-old Esh, who is trying to stock food for her brothers while her father spends all his time drinking. This is an award-winning novel about family, love, and community, as well as an unflinching look at the realities of rural poverty. It sounds like a pretty intense emotional read. It's on my 2021 TBR, so it will be nice to cross something off my you bought it, you read it list ahead of schedule. It's also hurricane season where I live, and we've already been hit with one tropical storm this season, so I guess it's the right time of year to be terrified by the devastating impact of climate change. Yay! In my third roll, I'm going to get doubles, so that's not great. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so this is to read an Own Voices book. For the Own Voices prompt, I've chosen The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This is a horror novel that follows 4 Blackfeet men after a disturbing event from their youth puts them in a struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, these childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent, vengeful way. Stephen Graham Jones is a member of the Blackfeet Nation, so this is Own Voices. I read his book Mongrels earlier this year, and I rated it 5 stars. I loved the way he took a classic horror creature like the werewolf and layered it with important social commentary about issues affecting Indigenous persons, such as displacement. I'm hoping that this will be an equally complex tale, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. We have the first 3 books chosen. On roll number 3, I rolled doubles, so I have to roll again. Ooh, I rolled doubles again. My goodness. All right, so 1, 2. So I have to read a book with water on the cover. All right, let's take a look and see if I have anything with water on the cover. For the water on the cover prompt, I'm going to choose The Whale, a Love Story by Mark Beauregard. I made this one really big so you can see the water since it's quite stylized. It's faint, but it's there. In the summer of 1850, Herman Melville's life was out of control. He was in debt, and his last 3 books had flopped. So to escape his creditors and his critics, Melville took his family on a vacation to his cousin's farm in the Berkshires of New Hampshire. There he met Nathaniel Hawthorne, which changed the trajectory of his life and his career. The Whale chronicles their love affair and the ups and downs of their relationship. And this book has been on my TBR since I learned about it because Moby Dick was one of the classics I read in school that helped me realize Gaydar works backwards, and that there have always been queer writers sharing their voices with the world, even when it was dangerous to do so. And I'm curious to read more about Melville's experiences through the letters and journal entries contained in this book. And so because I rolled doubles twice, now I have to roll again. And hopefully I won't roll them a third time. I don't know what happens to me because there's no jail, but well, it doesn't matter because we didn't roll it again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I have to read a book set in the past. For the set in the past prompt, I have chosen The Invention of Wings by Sue Monk Kidd from my 2020 TBR. This book is inspired by the historical figure of Sarah Grimke, an abolitionist and women's rights activist. In the novel, Sarah is given ownership of 10-year-old Hetty on her 11th birthday. And the book follows both their lives and their relationship over the course of the next 35 years and documents how Sarah comes to join the abolitionist movement. I have 5 books on my TBR so far, and I've only technically rolled the dice 3 times. So this is my 4th roll, and I am really hoping that we don't get any more doubles. Okay, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is to read the highest rated book on my TBR. In this case, I'm going to go with my 2020 TBR. Oh, this is so bad. The highest rated book on my 2020 TBR is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, and it's 752 pages. This book is set on the island city of Camor, which I believe is a fantasy world coded as Venice circa the 12th century. It follows the orphan Locke Lamora as he studies to become a thief. He eventually becomes the leader of a band of thieves known as the Gentleman Bastards, which is also the name of this series. Somehow they get involved in a coup that puts all their lives in danger, and I presume shenanigans, action, and adventure ensue. This is the first book in an unfinished series. I don't typically read books from an incomplete series, but it's my understanding that it's books 2 through 4 in the series that are interconnected, and this one can be read as a standalone novel. I've heard nothing but good things, so even though Bookopoly is throwing a lot at me, this one should be a lot of fun. My 5th roll is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this one is to read a book in translation. For my book in translation, I've chosen The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa with translation by Philip Gabriel. This book has been translated from Japanese into English, and this novel is about a cat named Nana who is on a road trip with his owner Satoru. The purpose of the journey seems to Nana to be visiting 3 of Satoru's longtime friends, but he doesn't understand why all of Satoru's friends pay more attention to him than they do to Satoru, so he's a little confused by the road trip. I'm sure you can see where this is going, and I'm sure I'll be crying by the end. My kitty is currently sitting next to me and purring right now, so it's gonna be a lot. This book is also one of 3 potential books for my October book club. The club hasn't voted on the final book, but I wanted to read this one regardless, so I'll cross my fingers and hope that they pick this one. All right, so this is my 6th roll, and I rolled a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, read an ebook or an audiobook. For the prompt, read an ebook or an audiobook, I have chosen the first volume of the graphic novel Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I chose Saga for this prompt because I don't read many graphic novels in general, and I've been hearing a lot of good things about this particular graphic novel. I'll be reading this as an ebook from the Hoopla app, which fulfills the letter of the prompt. Since graphic novels are a format I don't typically read, I'm also fulfilling what I think is the spirit of the prompt. I don't know much about Saga other than 2 soldiers from opposite sides of a galactic war fall in love. One of the soldiers becomes pregnant, and they risk everything to bring their baby into the world and to keep their baby safe. Okay, so for roll number 7... Oh no, I have a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, a middle grade. I'm gonna have to do some research on middle grade. I almost never read middle grade. I have absolutely nothing against it. It's just not something I have my finger on the pulse of. Despite thinking I didn't know anything about middle grade, I found The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill on one of my to-read lists on my library app. In this book, every year, the people of the Protectorate leave a baby as an offering to the witch who lives in the forest. They hope this sacrifice will keep her from terrorizing their town. But the witch who lives in the forest is kind, and she rescues the children and delivers them to welcoming families on the other side of the forest, nourishing the babies with starlight on the journey. One year, she accidentally feeds the baby moonlight instead of starlight, filling the child with magic, and decides to raise that girl as her own. This sounds like it's going to have a sweet and dreamy atmosphere, so I'm happy to check it out, and I'm glad I got this prompt. Okay, so for roll number 7, I rolled doubles, so I have to roll again. And this time it's a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Standalone novel. Oh, thank you. Okay, so a standalone novel should not be hard for me to find. For the standalone prompt, I've chosen A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. This is another possible choice for the October book club pick, and it's one I was also planning on reading regardless of what the club decided. Hopefully, when the club votes on the October book, they'll pick either this one or the Traveling Cat Chronicles and not The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. This story follows Ove, a cranky older man whose neighbors call him the bitter neighbor from hell. One morning, a chatty young couple with 2 young daughters moves in next door and accidentally flatten Ove's mailbox. This sets off a series of events that will change one cranky old man and a local residents association forever. It sounds sweet and heartwarming, and it's been on my to-read list for a while, so now's a good time to pick it up. Okay, for my 8th roll, hopefully it will be kind to me. I'd like to get one of the cards because I actually did fill out 15 cards. An 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, reading a book set in the past. For my second book set in the past, I've chosen Wild Seed by Octavia E. Butler. Octavia E. Butler is my favorite author of speculative fiction. It's my plan to read everything she's written more or less in order over the next few years, even if I've already read it. This is going to take me a while. There's no end in sight on this project, but I thought this might be a good time to read the first book in the Patternist series. This isn't the first book in the series in publication order, but it is by chronological order. This book follows 2 immortal beings in a struggle that spans centuries and takes them all the way from Africa to the New World. I own all the books in the Patternist series, including Survivor, so they're all on my TBR. And I'm really looking forward to reading them in chronological order. So here are all the books this demon Bookopoly board chose for my September TBR. That was exhausting. I feel like I just ran 5 miles. I don't know how Becca deals with this stress every month. The total page count for all 11 of these books is around 3,900, so let's just call it 4,000. In order to finish them all in September, I'll need to read 130 pages every single day. That's a little higher than my daily average of 120, so it's not exactly going to be easy, but I also don't think it's too ambitious. I read over 4,000 pages in July and over 5,000 pages in August. As long as I can keep going at my current pace and don't get into a reading slump, I should be able to finish all of these books without too much stress. Of course, I didn't think I was going to be choosing more than 10 books max for Bookoplathon, and here we are. So I probably shouldn't be casually tossing around words like easy or slump. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them in the comments below. Be sure to check out the video description for links to Becca's announcement video and all her Bookoplathon resources and social medias. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I play Stardew Valley and I talk about books, so if you like either of those things, this channel may be for you. I hope you're having a wonderful week and wish you all the best in your reading adventures. Bye!